Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Yu, and today we're going to see what's going to be the best stock for this week. Although we don't have any stock per se, but we do have at least one for this week, which it's on my portfolio. We're going to do as well a market analysis and check what's going to be the portfolio performance, and we're going to see what's going on with the Looney merge. We're going to talk about AT&T and the merge with Discovery. So stay around. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 3.9% of my viewers are subscribers, and I need your help to reach the 1000 subscribers. So smash that button. Let's get back to the video. So this week we have PFG, Principal Financial Group, which was a ticker that I already talked in the past. You can check on the video above. And also had a dividend yield of 3.73%. I think they reduced from around 4% that was before to 3.73%. And the ex-dividend date is on the 2nd of June. So this was the only stock for this week, the stock that I had on my portfolio. I couldn't find any other stock for this week with the ex-dividend date this week with more than 5% of the dividend and pay quarterly. The only one that I found was one that pay biannually, actually only pay once per year. And that's why I didn't include on my portfolio, because I think it wasn't a good investment on that stock per se. So now let's have a talk about the merge. Have you seen in the past week there was a lot of talk around the AT&T and Discovery merge, where AT&T is going to sell most of the debt and the majority of the companies of media, and they're going to merge with Discovery. So AT&T still continues, and Discovery is going to fuse into a different company with the merge of the other channels coming from the Warner Media, which is going to be the Warner Brothers, the HBO, TBS, Cartoon Network, CNN, and others that are going to merge into the Discovery platform. At the moment, there are two subscription platforms in the group, which are going to be Warner Media with HBO Max and Discovery Plus. So they're going to merge both, I hope, and this is going to allow to compete against Netflix and Disney, and also Amazon, which is trying to acquire MGM, which I think the business actually is not going to occur. But let's see what's going to happen, what's going to be the deal with Amazon and MGM. Regarding AT&T and Discovery, we're going to see now what's going to happen. So for you to have an overview of what's going to happen, the Discovery, the new corporation, which is combined by Discovery Channel and Warner Media, sorry. So AT&T is going to sell 71% of the company into Discovery. So the Warner Media is going to be around 71% of the company, meaning that all the stocks that we hold is going to be shifted into this new company. So we're going to hold around 21.9% of AT&T and another 71% of this new company, those who hold shares of AT&T. And I can show you this on eToro of what's going to happen. The AT&T is going to suffer a decline in terms of the dividend. So the dividend is going to be moved from 7% to around 3%, 3.5%. We still don't know. So from aristocrat dividend stock, this is no longer going to be true. They already announced cuts on the dividends. We still don't have any data, but their estimation is around 3.5% at least, if it is. The new company, as Netflix and Disney, won't hold any dividend because it's not profitable yet. Getting this 41 billion of debt coming from AT&T, I doubt it that they're going to put any dividend yields on their shares. Although they mentioned that there's going to be protections against this debt. How this is going to be dealt, we still don't know. So there are too many questions still, and I am assuming the deal probably built next year. I don't know if this is going to happen still during this year. Anyway, the stock already went down from $33 to $29, I think. It's the value at the moment. Since I still have some copies on my portfolio that they have the stock negative, and for them to be positive, I need to sell at around $32.50 for them to have profitability, on this stock. So that's why I've put take profits around the $32.50 in order to all my copies will get positive or at least won't lose any money. If we won't sell this stock, what's going to happen in last case scenario is we're going to hold 71% of this new company, which for me I think is not a bad business, because we're going to acquire a really big competitive company that's going to be against Disney Plus and Netflix, and this is going to bring a lot of growth in this specific stock. So I'm assuming this is quite interesting. I won't look too much for the 41 billion of that, because the AT&T just in revenue is around 64 billion, and in terms of liabilities it's around the 71 billion. So we have around the 10 billion of difference between liabilities and assets, and this is going to be merged into the new corporation, although with the debt that the Discovery may have. But I think we have a lot of growth here, and a lot of users are going to merge into the one platform, which I'm hoping that's going to happen with the HBO Max and Discovery Plus, in order to have more portfolio to their customers. So basically this is the stocks that I have on my portfolio. We have around 2% of profitability at the moment. I'm not going to sell it now, because I'm hoping, as we see here, is the average open is around 28.84, but I still have a lot of copies on my portfolio. A lot of you guys that are copying me that are negative or bought the stock around the $41 or the $32 around that time. So that's why I don't want to sell this, because this is a big impact on your portfolio. And also in my portfolio, it's around 4% of my total portfolio, and I don't want to close this as is at the moment. So there's two things that's going to happen: or we going to wait that going to reach the $32.5, or we're going to wait for the split and the merge of the stock and acquire 71% of the new company, which is going to grow, and we may sell those stocks as well. And of course AT&T, which is going to be really specific only for communications and wireless, like for the phone, for example. I may sell this depending on the type of business and the type of growth and estimation of growth that's going to happen. So this is going to be a big change, but we have a strategy in place to understand what's going to happen. And if this goes completely south, probably we need to sell all this. But I hope if we sell, we're going to sell with profit. So for this week analysis, we're going to look into the SP500 and the Bitcoin, what's going to happen. So let's have a look into those graphs. In terms of the SP500, we still are in the same position as last week per se. This didn't change much. We are following a trend, the trend of the average. So I think we're going to stay between these values over here on the next upcoming month or so. The tendency we had here, the shifts. So this was actually the graph, the draws that I've done last week. So I estimated the shift to be during this month, but was actually more towards at the end of the month of May. And we're going to have still a shift. So now we're going to follow the tendency of bull markets. Let's see if this is going to shift completely, or we're still going to continue in this segment, or if we have a breakout here and going for this level around here, which is more interesting than the one we are at the moment. But I'm not sure if this actually going to happen. We're going to move forward to this segment over here, since the markets, there's nothing much going on at the market at the moment, and I'm assuming we're going to stay around these values here. We're going to grow around 0.5% to 1% ish per week per se. I don't see this going on too much unless something else completely change. So if I change this the interval for 1 hour, we're going to have the same tendency, and I'm thinking this is going to happen the same thing in July. I don't see a tendency of this going up. I'm not referring to any previous years, as I've shown you in the past, like with the Power BI, showing the previous years what's going to happen, to see what's going to see the tendency for this month. Since this year has been completely atypical, I'm leaving that apart because it's not going to give us any more information than actually what we have at the moment. So I'm going to stay for what we have. I believe June's going to be exactly the same thing that we are seeing here during the month of May. I'm being really conservative. I don't want to go saying that we're going to reach the new points of and go for this segment over here, which is a big growth. For that, something really needs to happen in terms of laws and in terms of the market itself. So I'm thinking that we're going to follow this trend for the next few months, or at least this month. Let's see what's going to happen. I hope not. I hope we have a growth. We start to see a bull market, but usually June, July, August, we have a bull. May was supposed to be more bullish than actually was. It was exactly the opposite. So let's hope this June, the new month, will give us a new pull and we'll go above this line over here, or at least grow a little bit more than actually 0.5% that was per week, which is almost nothing. In terms of BTC, we have exactly the same thing. We are following the trend of the SP500, although we have now a validation of the support at the 35k. This is not going to be followed down more than 35k. If this in fact goes to the 35k, the next level will be 32k or the 30k. That will be a really serious issue if this happens. This was nice during this week because we got some discount and we got to get in or bought more, but I'm hoping this is going to follow the bull tendency. We are seeing here now a shift finally. I think we may see on the first week probably you're going to fall again to the 35, and then we're going to continue up based on the MACD that we're seeing here. The tendency it's now bullish, but we may see Monday or so a bearish market, and then more towards the end of the week a bullish market. Then we get out of this support line at the 35k and on the way to the 40k. So if you want to copy my trades, you can go and copy all my trades by searching my nickname Knight on the eToro, and you can copy all the trades that I have at the moment. This actually, it's a good time because we are seeing the market on the biggest lows. Actually, I'm not so positive as I was supposed to be, but I hope at least I'll reach a positive month. But it's quite hard to say because it's been really hard to control the downtrend of the Bitcoin, and that's why I got really affected during this week. But don't forget to go into my portfolio and have a look. So my portfolio this week didn't have the performance that I was hoping for. We went a little bit down of the US market, which had a growth of 1.5%, and my portfolio had a growth only of 1.12%. The majority of this it's due to the Bitcoin went down so much, and other as well, which I bought and I've done some average during the week. But we did have a growth on my portfolio since inception, from 14 of last week into 16 this week. So we had a growth around almost 2 points percentual. In terms of the top 5 stocks, Twitter had a growth of 5.52%. ARK Invest have a growth of 5.92%, although most of it is due to Palantir, which had a quick growth. And actually, I've managed to sell all my positions with Palantir, which I'm trying to get rid of growth stocks at the moment because they are really volatile. And when we are getting in this volatile market, I prefer to jump off and invest in something else like an ETF or something, which I'm going to talk more towards the end of the video. Broadcom AVGO had a growth of 4.67%, so Facebook a growth of 3.95%, and AIG a growth of 3.83%. This is due to some of the countries already not in lockdown, like for example Ireland, etc. And the next week is going to start some flights to Spain, Portugal, and other countries. And the same thing happened with the UK as well. So that's why the stock went up during this week, because of that announcements and because of the majority of the countries in Europe are not in lockdown at the moment. In terms of payments, we had the DIV for this month. New acquisitions, we didn't have any. Open orders, we still have SPHD, which is a really good stock. Actually, it's an ETF, which I'm trying to get in. So in order to shift from AT&T or Palantir, for example, I got that money in balance, and I intended to invest in SPHD, which is a stock with around 4% of dividend yields, and they pay monthly dividends, which is quite good. It's quite compared with the DIV, but DIV has a higher dividend yield than actually SPHD. This is a new ETF that I want to invest. Realm as well, I have the open orders. I want to invest more in Realm. Amazon and BTC as well I have. This is just to cover my portfolio in case of the Bitcoin goes below the 32k. I think this is not going to happen, but just in case, I've put an order just to protect my portfolio. In terms of close orders, I closed entirely Palantir. I have a sell with a profit around 15%, which was quite good. I hope that I had more, but unfortunately the market is not giving us that, and I need money on my balance to protect my portfolio and cover other stocks that I have on my portfolio that are much more important than actually Palantir. In terms of average, I've done no average during this week, and the top payers is now AMZA, which in the past was ET, Energy Transfer, but Energy Transfer, since they reduced the dividend yields around 1% or 2%, now AMZ is my top payer. The top dividend yields is now Realm, it's still with 11.57%. The portfolio is undervalued in around 42.4%. It didn't change much from last week, and the portfolio future growth is from 8% last week to 6.7% this week. The stock high volatility is still Main, Street Capital, and the lowest volatility is Unilever. So in terms of the spreadsheets, as you can see here, we only have the payments of DIV this week, and the values are all updated. Also the prices are updated with the price from last Friday. You can see this on the link that I have left on the description. Here we also have some information regarding what is the percentage of each type of UK stocks, ETFs, and US, and as well as China. But China, we have an ETF which is MG, which contains around 3% of my portfolio as well. So you need to add that into China stock, which at the moment I have Alibaba on my stock, and also this ETF, which I intend to sell Alibaba as soon as they reach the 500 and 5,000. So I hope you enjoyed the tips for this week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like. And once again, guys, thank you. Cheers, and that's all, folks.